So, Vinny, when you were talking about, hey, looking at the breakdown from paid search versus from paid social and like trying to think through it in that way, um, maybe for those that aren't super familiar with IntelliGems, like how do you go about doing that? And like, how often do you see kind of like drastic differences in there that might determine like, hey, where do we take this in the future?
Yeah, I think in terms of targeting as well, you can play around in IntelliGems and make the splits of traffic to different sources as well, which is really interesting. There's a lot of tools and ways you can play around with IntelliGems, which is why we love it so much. That customizability is wonderful. And like this test, for example, we had a hypothesis of how it acts for paid social and paid search. We found that paid social didn't perform as well. So that leaves us again with, as you said before, those more questions. Okay, we now know this is great for this, but how is it for this? How can then we design experiments that focus more on this segment of traffic? What things worked from this test? What things didn't work? Why is that? So is it because they're starting further back in the funnel? If they're coming from an ad, do we want them to take their URL straight into a PDP page rather than having them come onto the homepage and then work their way down? So it allows you to have all these different conversations segmented, and when you segment and target, you can then scale up a lot faster and more precisely.